Mountains are shaking. Welcome to Skywatch TV News for April 27th of 2015. I'm Derek Gilbert. Over the weekend, an earthquake in Nepal, magnitude 7.8, has left over 3,800 people dead as of this recording on Monday morning. But authorities there expect the number to increase sharply in the hours and days ahead. Meanwhile, last week in Chile, a volcano, Calbuco, erupted unexpectedly for the first time in more than 40 years. You see the images here of the fire, the lightning surrounding the peak of the volcano, and you just get a sense, a small taste of what it must have been like for the Hebrews camped at the base of Mount Sinai as Moses went up to receive the Ten Commandments. And then there's this. An image captured by a resident of a local village appears to show a giant formed by the ash cloud. Locals who've seen this picture believe it's the god of the volcano making an appearance. Now, it's not surprising they feel this way. People have considered volcanoes and mountains to be the abode of the gods since the beginning of time. In fact, the ancient Hebrews considered God's domain, his location, his home, to be on a mountain. We read in Ezekiel 28 that Eden, in fact, was located on a mountain. The lamentation over the king of Tyre, which is believed by scholars to be a reference to Lucifer. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was your covering. And then skipping down, you were an anointed guardian cherub. I placed you. You were on the holy mountain of God. That mountain, of course, was located at Horeb when Moses met God in the burning bush. It was on Sinai, of course, where he received the Ten Commandments. And then later, it was on Mount Zion, which, of course, is located in Jerusalem. The prophets in the Old Testament, especially Isaiah, made a practice of taking imagery that the Canaanites used to describe their chief god, Baal, and applied it to Yahweh in order to demonstrate the superiority of Yahweh. There are a number of examples of this, but it was done frequently with reference to the holy mountain of Baal. There's a story that you're very familiar with, and you may not have heard all of the details. I know I certainly didn't. This is the crossing of the Red Sea, which is spectacular in its own right. The imagery of the millions of Israelites crossing the dry ground on the bottom of the Red Sea with walls of water on either side, pursued by the most powerful army in the ancient Near East, and then destroyed as the waters flow back in to cover up the riders and their chariots. However, the key part of the story that illustrates that this was more than just a physical confrontation is that just prior to the crossing of the Red Sea, God told Moses to tell the Israelites to turn around, to turn back. And they crossed the Red Sea at a location directly across from a point called Baal Zephon. We don't really know where this is. It's somewhere on the coast of the Red Sea in Egypt, but where exactly is still unknown. But the key is that the point was directly across from Baal Zephon. Baal Zephon translates as Lord of the North. Of course, Baal was the chief god of the Canaanite pantheon, but he was also worshipped in Egypt as a god of storms and a god of the sea. He had command of the sea. So right here in front of a site sacred to Baal is where Yahweh demonstrated his power, his superiority, not only over the gods of Egypt, as we read in Exodus chapter 12, the 10th plague, the killing of the firstborn of Egypt, was a judgment on all the gods of Egypt. Then he demonstrated his power over Baal, the chief deity of the Canaanites, who would be a thorn in the Israelite side for hundreds and hundreds of years, at a site sacred to Baal and named for Baal's holy mountain in the north of Syria. There are other places in Scripture where the location of Baal's mountain, which was called Mount Zephon, is compared with Mount Zion. In Psalm 48, great is the Lord, greatly to be praised in the city of our God. His holy mountain, beautiful in elevation, is the joy of all the earth. Mount Zion in the far north, the city of the great king. Now Zion, of course, was not in the far north. Mount Zaphon, Zaphon translates as north. That was the far north, understood to be where Baal's palace was located. The writer of the psalm comparing Zion to Zaphon, and again demonstrating that Yahweh was superior to Baal. So the whole episode there, the crossing of the Red Sea, more than just delivering the Israelites from the hand of the Egyptians, but a sort of cosmic in-your-face, if you will, to the chief god of the Canaanites. And of course, the final battle, the Battle of Armageddon, will be a battle for Yahweh's holy mountain, the mount in Jerusalem called Zion. Wargaming the Apocalypse, a group of scientists, engineers, and politicians gathered in Italy last week to participate in something called the Planetary Defense conference. The scenario was this: a 1,200-foot wide asteroid approaching planet Earth. The scientists have 7 years to figure out how to defend Earth from the impact. To get an idea of what would happen if an asteroid this size were to impact Earth, the crater would be over 1,500 feet deep, and everything within 20 miles would be completely destroyed. In this scenario, the group designed and built a series of explosive devices attached to rockets, sort of the Armageddon scenario, the Armageddon film. Unfortunately for the nation of Bangladesh, in this hypothetical scenario, once the asteroid was shattered, its debris rained down in a circle basically centered on the Bangladeshi capital of Dhaka. Avian flu continues to spread through the United States, and this is something that really bears watching. Poultry operations in the Midwest are being destroyed by a strain of flu called the Fujian H5N2 strain. It first entered the North American continent at British Columbia last year, and so far it has spread through millions of chickens and turkeys have been destroyed at operations throughout the Midwest. Minnesota, Iowa. It's also been confirmed in Arkansas, Idaho, Kansas, Missouri, North Dakota, South Dakota, Oregon, Washington, and Wisconsin. The Canadian government did a pathogenicity test on this particular strain of flu. Anything above a score of 1.2 out of 3 is considered highly pathogenic, very deadly. This particular strain scored a 2.8 on one test and a 2.97 out of 3 on another test. Now, so far the CDC says there's no risk to humans, but some experts disagree, especially as the number of mandatory culls increase, destruction of these flocks, and the number of humans exposed to this H5N2 strain also increases. And one final note, researchers are experimenting with a way to deliver medicine with precision using caffeinated cow sperm. Yes, I said cow sperm because that's what the article said. I'm from Chicago. Even I know that cows don't create sperm. But anyway, bull sperm has been captured inside metal nanotubes by these researchers. They find that they can direct these so-called sperm bots using magnetic fields. They discovered that these little microscopic robots moved 30% faster when given a dose of caffeine. We appreciate your support here at Skywatch TV. As you probably know, television time is expensive, and your support is greatly welcomed. We'd like to offer you this special incentive, this special gift for your gift of any size. It's a book by two-time Southern Baptist Convention President Dr. Jack Graham, called Unseen. It's about the spiritual war, angels, Satan, heaven, hell, and winning the battle for eternity. Again, we'll send this to you at no charge whatsoever, free of charge, for your gift of any size to Skywatch TV. Details on how you can donate available online at skywatchtv.com. Keep watching. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is Skywatch TV.